The resurrection, the curious case over King David's bones, and the Vatican's Mesiah tunnel. As Israel 365 News reports, a huge scandal flares up in Israel around the illegal excavations of the Vatican on Temple Mount, and possibly even the Vatican's attempts to exhume the remains of King David in order to clone the false Messiah. The story begins with a monastery of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary built in 1910 on the top of Mount Zion outside the city walls of the Old City, near the Zion Gate. The temple was built by the Latin Patriarchate in Jerusalem on the site that the Catholic Church considers to be the site of the Assumption of the Virgin, on the site of the house of the Apostle John the Theologian, next to the upper room of the Last Supper. A few hundred meters from this abbey, there is another Vatican-owned building, the so-called House of Joseph, and in Israel it has been rumored for many years that there is a secretly constructed tunnel between the two buildings with a total length of 1,970 feet and a width of 5 feet. Since we're talking about a multi-layered historical monument, which is the entire Temple Mount, no unauthorized digging can be carried out there. This is strictly monitored by the Israeli Antiquities Authority, IAA. The Antiquities Authority has denied the existence of any tunnels for years. However, the Regavim Monument joined the case, a social movement created to protect the national lands and resources of Israel. As a result of 2 years of proceedings, the officials admitted that indeed the Vatican has some kind of a tunnel. Now, a scandal arises around the secret construction of this tunnel, primarily because the Vatican's construction was carried out illegally and the Antiquities Authority of Israel was silent on the topic. But this is only the pinnacle of the scandal. Commenting on this situation, one of the famous rabbis said this: "We don't know what they took when they dug up the tunnel. We don't know even why they dug it up. Why would they spend so much money to dig a tunnel when they can just walk down the street for 2 minutes? It's very strange that they're digging a tunnel, and it's very strange that no one wants to talk about it. Jews would never have dared to dig a tunnel under Mount Zion. How could the church dare to do such a thing?" he said. There is nothing to object to this question. Jerusalem is not an Adir. Tunnels are not needed to pass between buildings. In addition, if the tunnel was so necessary, it could have been built in 1939 when the Jews did not have power over their land. Why was it necessary to delay the construction for so long? Meanwhile, along the route of the tunnel, and only on the proven part of it, there are underground rooms with ancient artifacts, in particular the traditional entrance to the tomb of King David. This is very strange and does not look like construction, but illegal excavations. For what purpose, though? Israel 365 News writes about it, saying this: "The spiritual leader of the Yanar Institute in Jerusalem, Rabbi Daniel Hazor, does not believe in fairy tales about important construction. According to Rabbi Hazor, this tunnel is a Vatican facility for the exhumation of the remains of King David, who they claim was buried on Mount Zion. Since the church is Catholic, the rabbi claims that they are acting at the direction of the Vatican." Rabbi Hazor adds that this is part of the Vatican's plan to collect DNA from King David's body and use his DNA to recreate, quote-unquote, the Messiah in an attempt to trick the world into believing that the Messiah has come, end quote. At first glance, the theory is, of course, quite unrealistic. The tunnel was dug, as they say, 12 years ago, but nobody knows for sure, especially since the existence of the tunnel has always been denied. The first cloning was carried out in 1996, but the experiment was official. In fact, as insiders say, the military and secret societies were engaging in human cloning back in the early 1970s, so maybe a tunnel was built somewhere in those days. Well, these are very strange and astonishing claims. Please leave your comments. This is by Solask. Thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.